Hey guys, we're going to be talking about fractions today. Fractions as part of a group, okay? Fractions as part of a group. So this is lesson 22. So if you're following along at home, make sure you get out your notebook and you're going to be taking some notes on this, okay? Now, if a statement says two-thirds of the students in class wore green so two-thirds wore green for St. Patrick's Day, right? Two-thirds. Well, we know how to write this as a fraction as 2 out of 3, right? If two-thirds wore green, how many did not wear green? That would be 1/3. And the reason being is when we're adding fractions, we keep that guy the same. And then at the top, we get 3 here, right? 3 over 3 equals 1 whole, 1 whole. So what we're talking about today is this missing bit right here. If 7/8 of a group does something, that means 1/8 of the group does not. So what's that missing bit that helps us get it all the way up to 1, okay? So let's talk about these guys. Draw a diagram of this statement, then answer the question. This is example number 1. 2/5 of the 30 students in the class are boys. So 2/5 in the class are boys. That means out of 5 students total in the class, 2 of them are boys, right? Well, how many are going to be girls? Well, we know that this is going to be out of 5, right? So if 2/5 are boys, that means 3/5 have to be girls for a total of 2 plus 3 is 5, okay? So 2 out of 5, so 2 boys, 2/5 were boys, right? That means equals, it says, and guys, let's back up and talk about this really quick. Remember, a fraction is part out of the whole, right? Part out of the whole. If you don't have that written down somewhere, write that down in your notes, circle it, part out of the whole. So we're gonna set up what we call a proportion here. This is a ratio and this is a ratio. A proportion just compares those two ratios, okay? So 2/5 of the 30 students in class are boys. 2/5 of the 30 students, right? That means 30 students total in class. That means we're gonna put 30 down here, okay? 30 down here because that's our total. Now, I'm writing these units out with it just so you get a good idea about it, but that's not always necessary. It's really just 2/5 equals out of 30. Well, let's take a look at these proportions. What do I need to multiply 5 by to get 30? I need to multiply it by 6. If I do it on the bottom, do it on the top. That means this is going to be 12. And guys, go look back at your units. So I said it's not necessary to write these units out. Once you get the flow of it, you won't need to. But to start, you need to be writing these things out with the units because we just discovered 12. That means 12 of the boys, or 12 of the 30 kids in class are boys, okay? So and guys, the Saxon book teaches you a little bit different about like drawing rectangles, that kind of thing. I think this is an easier method, so let me know if you disagree. Example number 2, change the percent to a fraction, then draw a diagram. Britt correctly answered 80% of the 40 questions. All right, guys, let's just review. How do we write percents as a fraction? 80%, there's 2 dots and a percent sign. So the way we write that as a fraction, 80 over 100, because there's 2 dots here, right? That reminds us. Now, guys, make your life easier. Don't leave it as 80 over 100. Let's reduce that. Lob off those zeros, okay? These are both divisible by 2, so that's going to be 4 over 5. That's a terrible 4. 4 over 5. So instead of saying 80%, we could say 4/5, right? So again, Britt correctly answered 80% or 4/5 of the 40 questions. That means 4 out of 5 she correctly answered. She incorrectly answered 1 out of 5, right? Because that would make it a whole number. And then out of the 40 questions, that means there were 40 total questions. And again, a fraction is just part over the whole. So the whole test was 40 questions. What do we need to multiply 5 by to get 40? Times that by 8. If we do it on the bottom, let's do it on the top. If we get 36, not 36, what am I doing? 32. I don't know why I did 36. Who knows? All right. So any questions? So that means she got 32 out of 40 questions correct. Okay. Oh, so we're at the practice problems, okay? So go ahead and pause it and see if you can do these on your own. If you cannot, come on back, let's figure this out. This is on page 125, right? Practice problem A. 3/4 of the 60 pumpkins were ripe. 3/4 of the 60 pumpkins were ripe. 3 out of 4 of the 60 pumpkins equals, and so that means 60 were total, is X, right? So if we've got this, so 4, what do I need to multiply 4 by to get 60? 15. If I do it on the bottom, I got to do it on the top. If I do that, I get 45 over here. So 45 of the pumpkins were ripe. Of the pumpkins were ripe. Okay? 45 of the pumpkins were ripe. How many pumpkins were not ripe? This is A. Well, if there were 60 pumpkins total and 45 of them were ripe, you can, it's 1/4 that would be not ripe, right? Because 3/4 of the pumpkins were ripe. That means 1/4 were not. That means it's 15 of the pumpkins were not ripe. We're not ripe, okay? Let's look at the next one. For C, we've got a statement. C says 60% of the 20 tomatoes were green. Guys, a reminder, 60% is written as a fraction like this. Make your life easier, lob off the zeros, and reduce this, okay? If I reduce this, I can divide both these by 2. I get 3/5. So instead of saying 60%, we could say 3/5 of the 20 tomatoes were green. That means total, there's a total of 20 tomatoes, right? Multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4, I get 12, okay? That means 12 were green. How many were not? Well, if there are 20 total, that means 8 were not. 8 were not. Or 2/5, right? Because 3/5 were green, 2/5 were not. That will give us a total of 5/5 or 1. All right, so let's see about, if you turn the page, I'm actually going to help you out on your homework here. Well, maybe not. I'm going to do number 6. Turn the page and do number 6. Give that a shot and see if you can figure that out. Okay, this says 25% of the 3 dozen eggs were cracked. 25%. Let's start by putting that into a fraction. Okay, 25% can be rewritten as, there we go. Oh man, I'm terrible at that. There we go. 25% can be rewritten as 25/100. But guys, make your life easier. Let's reduce, right? If you have 1/4 out of $1, you have 1/4 out of 4 that make $1. So all I did was divide this by 25, divide this by 25. Okay, and I got 1/4. So that's a good one to remember. 25% is 1/4. Okay, so instead of saying 25% of the 3 dozen chickens, how about 1/4 of the 3 dozen chickens? So 3 dozen eggs, not chickens. 3 dozen. A dozen is 12, right? So let's do some side work here. 12, and we had 3 of them, right? So we take this, we get 6, 36. So 36 eggs. Okay. What do I need to multiply 4 by to get 36? 9. Multiply that by 9, I get 9. So 9 eggs were cracked. How many were not cracked? Well, if we take 9 away from 36, right, we would get 7 eggs, 37 eggs. I'm sorry, 27 eggs. What am I doing? 27 eggs were not cracked. 27 eggs were not cracked. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, those are fractional stories, okay? Fractional stories. Thank you.